Hey there and welcome to my video. This is Laura Lynn with Keep Inking Up. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! In San Antonio, Texas. And one of the things that I like to do for the holidays is I like to make little gifts for my neighbors, my friends, my family. And so here I have a set of 6 note cards and envelopes that I've packaged up in one of our clear envelopes. I'll just seal this up and give it to a friend or family member. And I thought that I would share how I made this particular card. Isn't that cute? It's just adorable. It's really simple. And it has this adorable little bunny with a fluffy tail. Can you see the little fluff on there? I hope you can. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Let me stick this back in here. I wanted to share how I made these cute little cards. If you're not familiar, I made them with our basic white note cards and envelopes. This is a really great bargain. You get 20 pre-cut and pre-scored note cards. Let me pull one out so you can see. You can barely see the score line, but it's there. They're pre-cut and pre-scored. You get 20 pre-cut and scored card bases, and then you also get 20 coordinating envelopes for just $7. So it's a really economical and efficient way to make a set of cards. So that's what I started with. So I'm going to go ahead and pull in my card that I've already burnished with my bone folder. And I'm going to pull in my Stamparatus because I have already made a bunch of cards, so I've already set up my sentiment that's going to go in right there. Oh, by the way, I used the Snowman Magic Bundle for these cards, which has a bunch of little images that you can create scenes with, but it also has a coordinating set of dies, so you can cut out the dies and create your scenes with the pieces. And I made a sampler sheet here. You can see all the different pieces and parts that you can cut out and stamp with this bundle. I also spent a little bit of time and stamped and color and cut. You can see I've got some more bunnies in there, and that's what I used when I put together these note cards. So I have my note card in my Stamparatus here, and I'm going to stamp with, if I can find it, my shaded spruce ink. I wanted to add a bit of color to this card, very simple card, so I'm going to ink up my stamp that's already on the plate, and then I'm going to gently stamp down onto my card base. And I say gently because I want you to make note that this is a very thin, fine line font. And I wanted to bring that up because a lot of people get frustrated. They feel like they don't get a very nice fine line image. So I was going to try to recreate something that happens to a lot of people with this type of fine line image. So a lot of people, they'll smush their ink pad and get too much ink. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see that on the video, but the people kind of smush the ink too much in. And then when they go to stamp, they really press hard on the Stamparatus. And oh look, I pressed so hard I got that ink smudge on there. But see how that really changes the image? Let me bring back in my card that I did. See how nice and fine line that this is? And this one's, well, it's kind of smudged. So the point I'm trying to make is to just do a light touch of ink on your ink pad, but also just swing your Stamparatus down and lightly press. Don't really press hard, because then you run the risk of getting that. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of share that tip with you because I've had a lot of people bring that up to me, like oh, Laura, my images don't come out as nicely as yours. What am I doing wrong? And that usually tends to be one of the culprits, is the pressure, the amount of pressure that people use both with the ink pad and with the stamping. And the same thing is true if you have this stamp mounted on a clear block. People just press too hard. So just kind of keep that in mind if you're not having the results that you want. I'm going to set my plate aside because I'm going to keep using my deluxe foam mat. Again, I'm using the deluxe foam mat because this is a photopolymer stamp set, but I'm going to keep going with the card. I have cut a piece of our basic white cardstock using the Stylish Shapes dies. I just love the piercing that this adds around the perimeter of the shapes in this die set. And I'm going to ink up the little trio of trees with the same shaded spruce ink, and I'm going to stamp in the middle of the circle, and then without re-inking, I'm just going to go to one side and then the other. And this just creates a like a forest of trees in there. I think that that's done for the ink. I want to close up my ink pads. I tend to get my fingers in the ink when I don't want to, so I like to close it up as soon as I can. So I've got my card base with my sentiment. I've got my circle here. I'm going to layer this circle onto a piece of shaded spruce that has been cut with the layering circles dies. The layering circles dies comes with both I guess you call it solid edge circles and then scalloped edge circles. I love the scallop, and I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue on the back of my white circle, my stamped circle. And the reason why I'm using glue is so I have that wiggle room to maneuver the circle so it is centered nicely so that the equal amounts of scallops is showing all around the perimeter. Can you see that? It's just a nice little peak of color, not too much. Of course, if you wanted more, there are other sizes of the scallop circles that you could provide more of that color to show. And then I'm going to add this circle onto my card base with some dimensionals. I think dimensionals add so much to every project. They just really make things pop, which is what they're supposed to do. So I'll take the paper backings off of those. And then I will place this on my card front, just like that. So isn't that sweet? That green really pops off the page with the dimensionals and just a little bit of scallop on there. So I think that just was really sweet. So all we have left next to do, oh, I didn't stamp my trees. You know, before I put my ink away, I should stamp my coordinating envelope. I'm going to use that same trio of trees image. And I'm going to stamp the same way on the flap of my envelope. So that'll coordinate with the note cards. But now I want to show you the really special part about the bunny. Like I said, I stamped and cut out a bunch of these bunnies and I colored them with my blends. I've used various colors. This one looks like it might be crumb cake, and I used a little bit of petal pink for his ears. So what I'm going to do next is the special part of the card. I'm going to use our Snowfall Accents puff paint. So to use this, you want to shake it up really well before you use it. And then I'm going to squirt just a tiny little bit. You don't need very much. It will puff up when we heat it, so you don't need to squirt too much. So I'm going to unscrew this, and I'm going to just squirt just a little dot on the tail. Let me pull that up so you can see. I just have this very little bit. Oh, and I forgot to bring my tweezers. Well, we're just going to hopefully not burn my fingers. So now I'm going to use my heat tool. The heat tool does have two settings, the 1 setting and the 2 setting. The 1 setting is to dry things. Like if you're doing watercolor, you can dry it. But the 2 is for heat setting. That's what you want to use whenever you're doing heat embossing. And I think that's really important to use the 2 setting for this puff paint as well. So I'm actually going to turn it on and let it run for a little bit. So I apologize for the sound. I'm going to try to take it off camera so it's not quite so loud. I'm going to heat it up for a little bit before I bring it to my bunny, or my bunny's tail. And let's see, I might use my bone folder. I don't want to burn my fingers because I'm going to have to hold it to it for quite a while. That's why I'm heating up my heat tool to the side for a little bit to try to really warm it up pretty well, so by the time it comes to the puff paint, it won't take quite so long to heat it up. And it's going to take a little while, but you'll see that it's going to puff up. So I'm going to hold this down. And we're going to try to heat this up. I wonder, let's see. You're trying to heat up the whole liquid. That's why, again, you don't want to use too much liquid because then it would take much longer to heat up. Oh, there, see, it's puffing up. You see how it's puffing up? Isn't that cute? Oy, I did burn my fingers a little bit, but isn't that adorable? It just adds the little bit of puff on the tail, just perfect. I just think that is so sweet, so special. So now I'm going to add a dimensional on the back of the bunny. And place this adorable bunny now onto the front of my card, right in front of the trees. And there it is. Isn't that so sweet? I just love that little puff ball on there. Some fluffy little tail on the bunny. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video and you learned something new, how you can use the Stamparatus to create a really nice fine line stamped image, how you can make a very simple card with our note cards and envelopes, add a pop of color, and obviously use this fun Snowfall Accents puff paint to add a bit of fluff to any of your projects. It could also be great for snow, obviously, since it's called Snowfall Accents. It's great for snow. So anyway, thank you again so much for joining me. I hope you learned something new, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.